different ball players. They didn't just want to have the one. So you can do that now, and you can manage up to 10 ball players, and you can, different appearances, a different position, strength, those sorts of things. And all that is reinforced by a new ball player creation flow as well. So this year, when you go ahead and you go to make a ball player, you're going to select, what you want to do. Do you want to be a pure pitcher? Do you want to be a two-way player? Do you want to be a pure position player? And then from there, do you want to focus on power? If you're in a position for a position player, do you want to focus on velocity, or do you want to focus on break as a pitcher? And then, using those parameters, we kind of set up your ball player, and then you'll take that into Road to the Show. The intro to Road to the Show and the narrative Road to the Show is going to respect those choices. That was another piece of feedback from last year. The first one I'll touch on is going to be the fact that Road to the Show is how you progress your ball player. All of the missions and things that you'll be doing are all inside Road to the Show. We've also adjusted the reward rates, so you're going to be progressing faster than you were last year, so you should be getting more rewards more often. We have a bigger variety of rewards than we this year over last year, which is super exciting as well. And then the other side of it too, last year we had your programs, and they were tied to each individual archetype item. This year what we've done is, based on what you make in Role Create, you have, in certain scenarios, you'll have a handful of archetype items, right? So the first one, and I think the most important one, which will be at the end of each program, is the new archetype for, the next program. And that's going to be like a really big jump in attributes. They're focused in on your ball players, the choices you've made and your build. The other rewards that you'll get will be things like perks. Perks are going to be the things that you can slide into the archetype item. They're kind of like flavor items, if you will. New this year will be dynamic perks, which are situational, whether you're maybe ahead in the count, or if you are on, say, your 7th pitch or something. They're different, scenarios that kind of kick in. And so those are going to be perks. The other thing we give away is equipment for your ball player. So whether it's bats or cleats, you'll be able to get new items that way. We also give XP. And the XP is what drives our featured program, which is a full reward track on its own. And then we also give you stubs.
Who are just now getting introduced to Road to the Show and Ball Player. How does a program work in Road to the Show?
So the programs essentially, they are designed with a mission structure, if you will. And so for an example, like let's say you're a pitcher, you would go into the game, you get so many, you strike out so many people, then you'll get some program points. And that moves your program forward. As you acquire more points, you'll hit different tiers, you'll get new rewards, whether it's, perk packs, a new archetype item, stubs, XP, all those kinds of things are in there in the program. And so the design philosophy behind the missions is that it's a set of missions that you're gonna do while you play. It should happen kind of naturally and organically. You shouldn't have to go do anything crazy or something totally out of left field to do it. Just as you're playing your Road to the Show career, you should naturally progress these programs, and then you'll be getting rewards and items from there. We did this year is pitch select. And so when it comes down to your pitch repertoire this year, you'll actually have a series of pitches at your disposal. If you're a pitcher, you can slide those things into your repertoire. You can use those. They will track progression individually. So if you want to use a 4-seam for a while, increase the attributes on it, and then you want to swap out for a 2-seam or whatever it may be, you can do that. You go back to the 4-seam and you pick up right where you left off. And again, we really want people to kind of experiment with with their ball player, with how they're playing their game, so they can feel free to just find out how they want to play.
You can also swap appearances too, right?
Yeah, you totally can. So you have full control over your ball player's appearance, and with multiple ball players, you can make a plethora of different ball players with all different looks. And then when you create that ball player with the appearance, you'll have the choices that you made in terms of how you want that ball player to play. So if you want a super tall, lanky second baseman, make that guy. If you want to go ahead and make a really short right fielder, you can make that guy. And then you can use those in Road to the Show for their corresponding careers, and then play the game how you want to play.
To do that, so options and being able, like you said, about user and player agency was real big this year. And as you can see on the screen here, we don't force you anymore. If you want to be a two-way player, if you want to try to make it to the Hall of Fame and be the next Shohei Ohtani, you can, but you can also just be a pitcher or a position player, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you definitely nailed it with player agency. We just wanted to give the users more choice. We wanted to allow them to play the game how they wanted to play. So whether it's you want to be a pitcher, you want to be a two-way player, you want to be a position player, it's up to you to play that game over their ball player. So, we're going to go in, we'll make a two-way player at first. And again, this is all about player choice. So whether or not you want to focus your pitcher on, say, velocity, break, control, you can do that because, you make those choices up front. Now, in this example, what we're looking at today, this is going to be role create for a two-way player. So it has all the options. Whereas, if you're doing just pure pitcher, you would kind of select this and then you'd go on. But, so we're going to go ahead and for this selection, I'm going to create a break-based pitcher with a secondary for my two-way player. The secondary, again, power, contact, fielding. This is all about just kind of getting those choices in there and really allowing me to create the player that I want to make.
Mm-hmm. All about player agency and choices, right?
Yeah, it really, really is. And the second part of that is, how do I want to play once I'm on the field? Do I want to be a starting pitcher? Do I want to be a closing pitcher? Once I get to my position, where do I want to play? And again, this system sets it up so once I get into Road to the Show, I can kind of begin my career how I want to play the game, and it just gives me complete control. Once you're done with all your choices, we're going to give you, a quick high-level summary. This way,
you roll the footage, Colin.
What you tell yourself is, I want to stay square to the plate. Try to hit the ball over the shortstop's head.
Back here in extras, and a new pitcher on the mound in the bottom half of the inning. And a pitch. And you played behind guys, and they love having your speed out there defensively. One of the things that we talk about is how much pitchers enjoy having those elite defenders behind them. He's got it. Ball game. And the Giants hold on to win a tight one as this one ends as a one-run ball game. Close one here today, and your final 5-4. For Chris Singleton and our entire crew here at MLB The Show, thanks for stopping by. I'm John Shambi. Talk to you soon.
Welcome, Brian. Of course, his beard looks phenomenal.
Saw that a lot of people were missing the knuckleball. And so the ability to do this allows us to bring the knuckleball back. We can tie the knuckleball to a very specific archetype item, and then we're able to keep that archetype item for Road to the Show use only. One of the big things with being able to use your ball player in Road to the Show.
Can you talk about some of the changes this year?
Yeah, absolutely. We totally can. So we've expanded our library of perks quite a bit. We still have, some of the ones that we had last year in terms of just flat attribute or statistical perks that are just, just kind of a bonus, if you will, all the time. And then what we've also done is we've added in dynamic perks. And dynamic perks are something that are kind of situational based, and they give you a much bigger bonus, but only some of the time. So for example, let's say you're at bat, you're behind in the count. Well, we're going to give you, a boost to your contact. If you're trying to get, maybe additional exit velocity on a certain type of swing, we've got you covered there as well. And there's just a plethora of these things that really allow you to kind of assess how you want to play. Maybe you've got a game coming up and you're a little worried about certain scenarios. You can kind of set your ball player up so you can be ready for that and you can handle anything. So I think it's a pretty cool approach, and I'm excited to see, how the players get in there. How do they build their loadouts? How do they set up their ball player? And, how do they set themselves up for success?
And again, this is all going back to ball player being reworked and rebalanced from the ground up. And you mentioned earlier that the same
position, we say, hey, if you can get a hit, maybe a contact hit or a power-based hit that will drive in a run, then we're going to give you an additional boost to some of your attributes.